Here we go again. So the first official trailer, because what we got before was only a teaser, for Justice League came out over the weekend. Now normally I try and turn these videos around a little bit faster than this, but you know what? I took the weekend for myself and I was away and having a rather lovely time, and then I saw this. So this is a little later than I would usually like it to be, but I'm going to share my thoughts. Anyways, now before I get too into just all the things that really make me very depressed about this thing, I'll start by acknowledging this. If you liked Batman v Superman, and I know there are people who did, and did so genuinely, and I'm jealous that you did, because I didn't, but if you are one of those people, looking at this trailer, you're probably going to be very happy, because this is very much looking, feeling, sounding akin to Batman v Superman. It's super Snydery. It's really, really Zack Snydery. So if you dig that, I think you're probably liking this trailer, and you'll probably be very happy with the movie. If you are more like me and Batman v Superman, there were a handful of things that you were like, that's okay, that's not bad, that's kind of cool, but it was all wrapped in this just mess, then this trailer does not bring a lot of comfort. So if you don't know sort of where you fall, if you're on the fence, you're like, maybe the trailer seems kind of cool, like I thought Batman v Superman was okay, like, and you're not sure how you feel about this, I'm going to give you a little shortcut here. My friend Paul, who has been on the show on occasion and who has actually done screenwriting before, so he has a final draft, and he did a little test, and he took the opening lines of this trailer, plugged them in to final draft to see if it looked as stupid on paper as it sounded to his ear. So I'm gonna put that up on the screen right now. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking, that looks really dumb, then this is probably not gonna be a good time for you. And I wanna thank Paul for that, because I really think in many ways seeing it like that does more than I could actually do much saying. But I'm gonna try saying stuff anyway. So like I said, really Snydery, lots of speed ramping, a ton of CGI, a really on-the-nose music choice, just all of the things that you expect from Zack Snyder at this point. I'll tell you, there's that one shot of Wonder Woman where like she sweeps a guy's leg or something. I was so grateful for that shot, because it was like the first one for like half the trailer that wasn't just saturated in CGI, and it looked like a shot where there was nothing that wasn't real and everything was there. It was like, oh, wow, thank God. The noise and the fury of that, especially that climax in Batman v Superman, it lost me completely, because I felt like there was nothing that I could grab onto, because I was watching pixels smashing pixels. And not that that can't work. I mean, I unabashedly enjoyed Avatar, but that one was all set in an artificial world, so it kind of gets a little bit more leeway than something is supposedly set in the real world. So I'm kind of jumping all over the place. What do we actually get in this? We get little kind of mini introductions on Aquaman, the Flash, and Cyborg. Cyborg they spend the least amount of time on, which is odd, because he's the one that I think folks are least likely to know anything about. You'd think he'd be the one that they would sell the hardest, and he was the one that they sold the hardest in Batman v Superman. But here, he just like little bit, we hear Wonder Woman call him a cyborg, he gets one line. We spend a lot more time with Jason Momoa as Aquaman and with Ezra Miller as the Flash. Now, Jason Momoa's Aquaman, the look is cool. I do think it's a good look, and for the look they're going for, he is a good match for that look. I got iffy at his line, dressed like a bat. I dig it. I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. And then at the end, when he's on the Batmobile and he goes, yeah! I was gone. I mean, that was it. Forget it. I'm gone. And it's actually rewatching the trailer, because I watched it again before I started recording this. I actually had the thought, because Cyborg has this one moment where he like saves a cop and like stops a cop car from crushing him or something, and he goes like, you might want to run or move, or something just very sort of stoic, very, I'm here to help, let me help. And I'm there thinking, did they swap Cyborg and Aquaman's personalities at the script phase? Is that what happened? I mean, I'm saying that kind of facetiously because I understand there have been many variations of the personalities of both of these characters. I'm not saying either one is invalid, but I'm saying, like, in my mind, it's sort of the default standard personality type for the young, you know, college football star versus the regal lord of Atlantis. My default for what those personalities should be are the opposite of what we're getting. And that's not even to say that that couldn't work. It's just weird and jarring. Ezra Miller's The Flash. I don't know, man. He's just got a rough go of it because Grant Gustin, he's going into season 4 of The Flash, and he's a version of The Flash that pretty much all the fans like, even if their feelings on the show overall are a little bit up and down. Ezra Miller, he seems to be doing fine. I just don't know what they're going to do to distinguish this version. Now, it looks like with the angle that they've gone for, because at this point we've seen speedsters not only on the Flash TV show, but we've gotten 2 versions of Quicksilver on the big screen, so doing speedsters on screen is not new anymore. So it looks like what they're going for their unique version is to actually not slow down time with him, but to show a lot more of it in normal time, which means we're seeing him almost look like he's teleporting, like there's a blur and suddenly he's over there. And so we see that, and we only see like that same little bit of time slowing down that we saw from the original teaser. And most of the other stuff seems to be us either not quite keeping up with him or us at normal speed watching him blast past. And maybe shifting that emphasis rather than doing like the Days of Future Past thing where we slow down to be with the speedster. That might be the better way of going, just so it doesn't feel as played out. Ben Affleck is Batman. I feel sad about that at this point because I still think he's a good match for the role, and like the vibe he's giving off is okay, but he's saddled with the lines that, in addition to the one I already put up, that just his response to Barry Allen's question, what's your superpower again? I'm sitting there, there's the pause. First of all, before it happens, I'm thinking, don't say I'm rich, don't say I'm rich, don't say I'm rich, I'm rich. It's super obvious writing is what it, and like the whole trailer, it's very obvious. And again, that I don't know if that's a fair criticism to actually level against the thing, because I mean, it is the first full-length trailer, but at the same time, I mean, this is the Justice League. We know what this is. We know, who the lineup is gonna be. I don't know if this sort of let's go through the new members of the team point for point is the way you had to go. I mean, that's just the generic way you kind of do, a team trailer to lay everybody out. But I mean, again, it's the Justice League. The reason they're jumping to the Justice League with as few movies underneath it, for the individual stars as they are, is because DC, Warner Brothers seems to have assumed everybody knows these characters. We can get right to the team movie, and yet you're treating the marketing material like we don't know who they are. And I don't know if that's entirely fair as a criticism. It all feels weird and jumbled and not well headed. I don't just mean the director in Zack Snyder. And man, seriously, a lot of these shots reminded me a hell of a lot of Sucker Punch. Not just BVS, but Sucker Punch. But even beyond that, it feels like there's a lack of guidance and a lack of coherence. And you know what? I'm actually going to go back to something that came up that occurred to me during the teasers for this trailer. Because we got little brief flashes of Aquaman and Cyborg, and I think I can't remember now. But they were using taglines, Unite the League. Sounds good, but also sounds oddly familiar. Unite the Seven. Right. In the marketing push leading up to BVS, they used quite a bit this line of Unite the Seven. Who's the Seven? Because right now in this league, as we're seeing it, we've got 5. We've got Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, and Cyborg. Now, if you want to extend it and add Superman, who's gonna come back, if not by the end of this one, then certainly in the next Justice League movie, that gets us up to 6. So, who's the 7th? And this is not me leading into some kind of speculation. I know the secret 7. No, this is me pointing at it and going, see, they have no idea what they're doing. Because at some point, they were sure, there's going to be 7. Here's Unite the 7. We'll use this as an early push. Yeah, they don't say that anymore. You know why? Because there's no 7. There is no 7th. It doesn't exist. So they thought they thought they had a plan at some point, and that's obviously not what they're currently doing anymore. Something has changed, and that's not to say plans can't change. Plans can absolutely change. But when you're so firm in your plan that you're going to stick this thing that isn't going to mean something for years, theoretically, and you're going to stick it in your early marketing material and then abandon it because it doesn't make sense anymore because you've changed, that shift of appearing so certain but so obviously not being certain about what you're doing, that is just, it's the disconnect of these movies. They have to go forward with this sense that they have a bold vision and it's a plan, and it's like, don't worry, we know what we're doing, but everything just indicates that they don't know what they're doing and they're making it up as they go along. And I will be shocked if Zack Snyder is allowed to direct anymore after this, unless like, it's the same caveat I put on Wonder Woman, unless it turns out to be really good and is really well received and is not as divisive as Batman v Superman was. Because even if it turns a decent profit, which odds are it will, if it is as divisive as Batman v Superman, Warner Brothers is gonna kick Zack Snyder to the curb real fast. Again, speaking personally, I'm fine with, because I'm done with the Snydery looking stuff. The guy's not untalented as a visual storyteller, but when allowed to just go nuts, which he did with BVS, which he did with Sucker Punch, which it looks like he's doing here, I don't think the results are very good. The man's at his best when he's reined in or focused better with something like 300, Dawn of the Dead, even Watchmen, which I'm actually not even that big of a fan of. He seemed much more focused in that one than he has in these last few, and then this one looks to me. But again, if you like BVS, this looks like it'll be a good time for you. Me, I'll be staying home. So that's my thoughts on the Justice League trailer. Have you seen it? Of course you have. What were your thoughts on it? Whatever they were, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check me out on Twitter at Council of Geeks. Give a listen to the Council of Geeks podcast, available on iTunes and Stitcher. And until next time, this council is adjourned.